What is going on, guys? My name is Brett, and welcome back to Monsters and Madmen, the channel where we talk all things horror, the people who live it, and the legends that refuse to die. If it looks like I'm dying of heat stroke, it's because I probably am. We're in the middle of a crazy heat wave right now, and I am filming this in a room with the air conditioning turned off. Today I am filming a bit of a different video than usual. This is a video that was proposed to me by my fiance. This is going to be a video just about me. I kind of just came on this platform about 2 months ago, began making horror videos, and I never properly introduced myself or explained how this channel came to be. So that's basically what I wanted to do here today. So of course, I'm sure you guys have heard me say it before. My name is Brett, and I am basically a lifelong horror fan. Dating back to me being a little kid, dressing up as Chucky and as Jason. I tried this like Jason Freddy Krueger hybrid costume that didn't really work out, but all the way back to when I was just a little kid. Something about me, I've just always resonated with horror and spooky and dark things. Whereas most kids' superheroes were Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, my superheroes were Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Chucky, Freddy Krueger, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to this day. But yeah, growing up, the only things I cared about was SpongeBob, the Ninja Turtles, wrestling, and on top of all of it, horror movies. I don't have a great recollection of it, but my mother does, and she tells the story all the time of me being babysat by my great-grandmother, just 5 years old, and her unknowingly throwing on a Halloween VHS. My mother claims that she came home from work or came back from work to pick me up, and there was Halloween on the TV, specifically the scene where Michael Myers stabs the guy right into the wall. And my great-grandmother, God bless her soul, saw a VHS that had a pumpkin on it and said Halloween, and just assumed it was a fun, family-friendly Halloween movie, and she put it on. But my mother claims when she got there, I was sitting smack dab in the middle of that floor, staring up at the television, just enamored by watching Michael Myers kill this guy. She also threw on the original Scary Movie once, which is significantly worse than putting on Halloween, in my opinion. But yeah, even though I don't have much of a recollection of it because of how young I was, I guess that would have been my very first exposure to horror movies. After that, for a lot more of my younger years, as I said, my favorite things were SpongeBob, Ninja Turtles, and wrestling, the WWE. Watched all of it pretty religiously. Even my room, I think, at different points throughout my childhood, went through a SpongeBob theme, a Ninja Turtles theme, and a wrestling theme at some point or another. And then a little bit later into my childhood, when I began wanting to read and learning how to read and began reading real books, I became obsessed with Goosebumps. And I think that, even though Halloween was my first ever real exposure to a horror film, I think R.L. Stine's Goosebumps series, and I'm sure a lot of people my age can relate to this, was my gateway into horror. I mean, I absolutely loved these books. I had tons of them. I mean, all over my shelf. Goosebumps everywhere. Anytime I saw a new Goosebumps book that I didn't have, I had to get it. I still remember to this day, I was in New Jersey at this big yard sale event they would do in this one neighborhood. And I found this ginormous collection of Goosebumps, about this big, just a huge book sleeve of Goosebumps books. And I bought the whole thing, and I read every single one of them. So yeah, Goosebumps held my interest in horror basically throughout my entire early childhood. In between that somewhere, I also remember renting out Killer Clowns from Outer Space with my father one night. I remember sitting on the couch looking for something to rent, and he had never seen it before. I obviously have never seen it before, and the title just kind of jumped out at us. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That sounds awesome. And it was, and because of that, this being the first horror film that I have real recollection of sitting down and watching, It became one of my favorite films of all time. And now, as a father, my son, my 4-year-old, about to be 5-year-old son, loves Killer Clowns from Outer Space and even dressed up as Shorty for Halloween last year. So it's almost like a really cool full circle moment for me as I grew up watching Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I kind of credit it with getting me deeper into my love of horror than I already was with the Goosebumps book, really solidified it. And now I get to sit and watch it with my son, and that is just an incredible feeling. But yeah, going forward a little bit from that era in my life, there was one day at Walmart. I'm a little bit grown up now. I want to say maybe I'm 12, maybe 13 years old. And by this point, I already had a fascination with the horror genre due to the Goosebumps books and having seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space at one point. But I was still a little bit standoffish about watching something really gory and scary at the time. Up to this point in my life, my only real exposure to the genre was Goosebumps, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and yeah, I guess Halloween, even though I didn't have really much of a recollection of that. So I was still a little bit worried about watching something that was really, truly horror. But yeah, guys, fast forward to one day. I'm 11 or 12, maybe 13. Me and my mother were shopping at Walmart. We're in the DVD section, and she picks up this DVD. It was a Chucky triple feature DVD, and it had Child's Play 2 on it, Bride of Chucky, and I believe Seed of Chucky. I still have it in my collection to this day. She bought it for me, and the cover, just the cover of the movie, scared the daylights out of me. It was Chucky on the front. He's standing there, and he has a few weapons on the side of him, and he's all scarred up as he looks in Bride of Chucky. And at the time, the Child's Play movies, the Chucky movies, wore that next gear, that really scary horror film to me, somebody who's only been exposed to Goosebumps and a comedy horror film like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. But she picked it up for me. She wanted to watch it, but she also got it for me. And it sat there in my room for like a while, like a few days, maybe even a week before I picked it up again. But one day, my life, I guess you could say, changed forever. I grew the cojones that I needed to grow as a young kid, and I put on Child's Play 2. And guys, by the end of the movie, obviously, I fell in love. I fell in love with Chucky. I fell in love with the horror genre, and it just sent me down this ginormous rabbit hole that is still ongoing 20 years later in my life. Immediately after that, I watched the next 2 movies on that DVD. I watched all 3 that were there in that day, and I wasn't scared anymore to watch horror films. As a matter of fact, I seeked them out from this point forward to currently in my life. I, of course, looked for the original Child's Play because that wasn't in this collection for whatever reason, probably a rights issue, but that one wasn't in there, so I eventually watched that movie as well. And then I eventually found a 4-pack of Friday the 13th at Walmart as well, which contained Friday the 13th 1, 2, 3, and 4, the final chapter. Also still have it in my collection, which then led me to buy the complete Nightmare on Elm Street collection from Walmart, which had every movie in the franchise, I believe, and it just kept going. By this point, of course, I've watched all 3 of these franchises back to back to back. I'm a ginormous horror fan at this point. Everything is horror movies. My room is horror movies. I can't get enough of it. I'm introducing horror movies to my friend. I credit myself with making my best friend a horror fan to this day, and I think he credits me for that as well. As the years went on, I started seeking out more intense, more real horror films to the likes of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Cannibal Holocaust even. The list goes on and on and on. My love for horror also constituted my love for film going forward as I became obsessed with the art of filmmaking and special effects, even going to film school remotely out of the Los Angeles Film School as well. So essentially, as I grew up, as I became a young adult, horror was now not only something I enjoyed, it was going to be my career choice going forward. My dream job would have been to make horror movies, and to this day still is. That obsession, of course, constituted YouTube. This is not my first go around on YouTube. However, this is the one that I am taking the most seriously. This is my way of making horror content. My love for horror started when I was just a little boy, and now here I am, 20 some years later. I live with my beautiful fiance and our two beautiful children, still a horror addict, if you couldn't tell. And yeah, simply that's how Monsters and Madmen came to be. It's my love for horror, my need to talk about horror, and my want to talk about horror with other horror fans like you guys. And now, as a grown adult with grown adult money, I am allowed to please that child inside of me who first became a horror fan, and I get to do this on YouTube. I get to talk to you guys. I get to collect horror memorabilia. I recently visited the real filming location, the real camp for Camp Crystal Lake with my lovely fiance, who paid for it, by the way, and I'm incredibly grateful that she has been so supportive through all of this, through my obsession with horror movies. She's been the best, and that obviously says a lot. This YouTube channel wouldn't even be happening if it wasn't for her. She offers to sit with the kids so I could come up here and record for you guys. She made me an email account for the channel. She's helped me with my interviews. She's helped me with my setup. She's purchased my lights for me. She has really, really been great with all of this. She bought this microphone that I'm trying to use now because I lost my clip-on one that I had. But yeah, if you're watching this, hon, I love you, and thank you for being so supportive. I know you're watching this. You watch all my videos, and you can't even deny that. I know you do. But yeah, and it's been awesome. I've gotten to talk to some really cool people on the channel, as you guys know. South Jersey Jason Bryan, my original interview, we're planning to have him conduct our wedding out in Blairstown, New Jersey, where they filmed Friday the 13th in October. I've talked with John Massari, the guy who did the music behind Killer Clowns from Outer Space, one of my favorite films of all time. I've talked to some incredible independent horror filmmakers just to get their work out there in the public eye a little bit more. I've talked with Lou Temple, who's been in multiple Rob Zombie films and was in The Walking Dead as a memorable character, Axel. I've even talked with Julian Richings on the channel, who played Three Finger in the original Wrong Turn and who was Death in Supernatural. This whole journey of YouTube already within the 2 months that I've been here, as small as it has been the time of my life. And ladies and gentlemen, we are just getting started. We are building. I'm putting more money into this channel to make these videos more consumable for you guys. If you're interested in supporting me and following me, I do have Monsters and Madmen social medias. I'm on X, I'm on Threads, Instagram, Facebook, anything you could think of. TikTok, even though I'm not very active on there. There's probably a Monsters and Madmen account. I link them all down below. So if you ever want to check those out and give me a follow, please feel free to do so. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm sorry this isn't really a traditional video. It's a bit different. It's a bit more personal. But it is a video that I wanted to get out. I wanted to introduce myself. I wanted to really get to know you guys and you guys to really get to know me. You guys have given me your absolute all. Those of you who do watch this channel and do support this channel as early on as it is. And I feel like the least I could do is give you my all and introduce myself. So yeah, guys, that is my story. That is how I fell in love with horror. That is how Monsters and Madmen came to be. And that is everything about me, really, growing up. It's all been about horror movies, man. That's been my whole life. But yeah, guys, I have no intention of stopping anytime soon. After this, we're going straight back into the straight-up horror content that you guys know and love. Trying to get a few more guests, maybe get a few more interviews, and we're going to be doing a bunch of horror videos as well. So definitely, guys, stay tuned for all that. And my name has been Brett. You guys know me a little better now. And this has been Monsters and Madmen, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.